It is Wednesday, August 10th, 2022. This is another edition of Baseball Today, presented to you by our friends over at True Classic. An amazing fit, whether you look like a male model or you got that dad bod working these days. I'll tell you how you can look your best. That is Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose. We are joined by producer Dan today. Did you recover from last night's Twins-Dodgers game? Are you okay? Because I know that's your sweet spot. It's where you live against the team with which you made your big league stamp.
Make no mistake about it. I was rooting for the Twins last night. Okay. I had my guy Joe Ryan on the bump. I did get to go pregame and see everyone. It was nice to catch up. But the Twins were a little overmatched last night. Urias looked really, really good. And the Dodgers lineup is absolutely relentless.
Hey, can I ask you, did you see Steph Curry? Because I saw him there yesterday, and he actually came back for a Trace Thompson at bat and videoed it. That was cool.
Yeah, so he was sitting with my buddy Marty Fish in the real nice seats.
The former tennis player, Marty Fish?
Yeah, so we hung a little bit, and they had the Dodgers owner seats. I don't know. I was up with the family section with the people. That's how I roll, Chris.
Hold on. You were hanging with Steph Curry last night?
No, Steph wasn't there yet when I was talking to Marty.
Okay. All right, because I think he and Marty became close through the celebrity golf circuit, is my guess. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, cool. That's cool. It wasn't as cool a moment as we saw as we're working our way toward Williamsport in the Little League World Series. You know, you got all these regionals going and stuff. And yesterday, there is a pitcher named Bub Shelton who lost control, ended up hitting a kid named Zay Jarvis right in the head. Helmet goes flying off. Jarvis eventually works his way to first. He's doing okay. Somehow he stayed in the game, and he saw that this really bothered the pitcher, Bub Shelton. And the kid he's 12 years old. He's on the mound. He's tearing up. And so Jarvis puts his helmet down, goes over, gives him a big hug. Now, most of the world is like, what an amazing moment. There's a few people who are like, soft. Can we just call it what it was? It's a great sports moment.
It's awesome. You know, I've seen this firsthand. You know, as these kids start to pitch when they're young, there are times where they lose control. And if they do hit someone, it really, really affects them. You know, they still see this as a game that they're having fun playing. So I understand the emotion of the pitcher. I think it's awesome that he was comforted by the big person that he hit. So I think this is exactly what needs to be put out and shown to everybody. This is sportsmanship. I don't want to hear any former player, any old head talk about how, like, back in my day, this wouldn't happen. This is exactly what should happen.
Mm-hmm. One thing I think people have to keep in mind, and I've talked to some people who are not former players who are like, I think it was a little soft, and I'm not going to call anybody out by name. But when you get 12-year-olds and they're growing up, their bodies are constantly changing. Their emotions are constantly screwing with them. And then to see that they hurt somebody when they didn't mean it, and you have the pressure of trying to get to the Little League World Series. I don't care what anybody says. These kids are feeling a lot of pressure. It's a great moment. I love it. But there's also a different feeling to it. So there was a lot going on with this kid. And I thought for the other kid, Zay, to show some compassion, great. We're better for it. We shouldn't even be discussing whether or not it was right. It was right. Let's move on.
Yes.
Let's start out in San Diego. There were a couple of great West Coast games last night. What was the bigger storyline for the Padres who stopped their skid? Was it Soto getting his first homer, getting the Padres on the board, and Machado walking it off in extras, or that Josh Hader blew a 3-run lead, blowing his first save opportunity with his new squad?
Oh, my gosh, Chris, you're going to make me talk about Josh Hader here. I love that Soto got one on the board, 96, elevated from Cobb. I think it was 3-2. It was out of the zone. He swung at a pitch out of the zone. Is something wrong with Juan Soto? I don't know. He hit a homer on it, though. Machado's walk-off was beautiful, hanging slider there by Rogers. But Hader starting to dig a little bit deeper into some of his issues. Now, Sports Info Solutions put out a great article. My guy Mark Simon works there, and or maybe he doesn't. I don't know. Put out a great article about Hader's something similar. They put out a great article about Hader's release point and how it's a little bit higher this year. In the previous years, he's been really low with it, and that's how he gets that effective velocity. He gets that little extra, what we used to call ride. Now there's a term for it, because he's so low here and he's so horizontal with it, but he's starting to get a little bit more vertical with it. So it's some of that deception on his fastball has been gone, and the numbers have showed it too. So everybody has this information. Now I'm wondering now, like, is this a scenario where Hader just is kind of balking at, the data, or is it really difficult for him to fix it? Like, in my mind, I was talking to Glenn Perkins yesterday about all baseball tech and pitcher stuff, and we're just talking about how quickly you can make adjustments now. So if they have this information, why aren't we trying to get that arm slot, the release point back to where it is? This is a little troubling for me because it seems like an easy fix, but it hasn't been fixed at all this year. So I don't know if it's a little bit of stubbornness out of Hader or if it's just something that he can't figure out. But either way, like, he's relied on stuff and deception. It looks like the deception is gone now. That's going to be something to look forward to as San Diego makes this playoff push.
Well, I will say this. July was a terrible month for Josh Hader. He has been particularly bad against the San Francisco Giants. He's had 3 appearances against them. He has given up 9 earned. Now, in a previous appearance against them, he said, I was tipping my pitches. He said, last night, my control was just all over the place. He walked 3 guys. He hit a batter. It was just horrible. Now, if you look at his appearances against the rest of the league, so we're talking in 3 appearances, 9 earned runs. Rest of the league, 37 appearances, 10 total earned runs. I'm still going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Remember yesterday we were talking about the Padres, and I said I had talked to somebody in Major League Baseball that said they were a rudderless team, that they didn't feel like they had a leader. I saw some quotes from Manny Machado afterward where he said that Juan Soto came in after they got down early and was like, fuck it, let's go. Let's go. Like, I loved hearing that. To me, that was a big deal. And sometimes when you're expected to win and you have the same guys around and it's not working, okay, well, then things can't change. Well, now you add an element of a young ball player who is still hungry, even though he's already a world champion and is as decorated as anybody that we've seen at this age. Come in and say something. To me, that's what caught my eye.
Yeah, no, I love that. I read that same quote there, and it's kind of interesting for a 23-year-old guy to come in there and have to step up and say that. But look, if you're void of that type of leadership, or maybe it was just an incident where he wanted to speak up. He wants to win. He doesn't want to just go to a team and then just be Juan Soto and put up his numbers. He wants to go to a team and change, what's going on there and freaking win a championship game. Every person I talked to that's played in the World Series, every single person, they're like, there's no other baseball I want to play. Like, regular baseball isn't fun anymore. So Juan Soto's like, hey, we got a great team. Fuck this losing stuff. Like, let's get back to winning because I need to feel that again. It's pretty crazy, man. But I'm excited that I love the quote and I'm happy that he did it. I hope it continues that way.
All right, let's move on to the other West Coast game that had us all on the edge of our seat. The Mariners end up walking off the Yankees, 1-0 game in 13 innings. What was your biggest takeaway from that? Because we had great starting pitching. We had great relief pitching. We had some crazy base running. We had some missed opportunities. There were some funky defensive plays. What do you got?
I think this just reminds everyone kind of how playoff baseball goes. I'm not talking about the atmosphere. Obviously, it was great. Service said after the game, this was a playoff atmosphere, but more so along the lines of the pitching, how dominant it was. We see that in the playoffs where you, as an offensive on offense, when you're hitting in the playoffs, if you're relying on 3-run homers and stuff like that, like, you're going to have some tough days and you're going to swing and miss a lot. I think it just goes to show, like, once you get into the postseason, you pare your pitching down, you have this. I mean, the Yankees were throwing, every pitch was like over 95 miles an hour yesterday. It was crazy. I'm sure you have some numbers there. But base running, defense matters in the playoffs. Definitely mattered last night in this game. I mean, there was a ton of base running mistakes. There were some great defensive plays, but this was, to me, looked like a playoff baseball game.
Yeah. And, Garrett Cole bounced back, had a really nice outing. Luis Castillo has seemed worth every penny that they paid for him in terms of prospect equity. Just continues to be awesome. It was funny because
147 fastballs by Cole and Castillo. None of them were below 95 miles an hour. That doesn't even bring into account all the freaking relievers that came into the game and were just blowing absolute cheese.
That's
147 fastballs by the starters, none below 95.
That's amazing. Really is.
It's crazy.
You didn't say 92. You said 95.
Scott Service said this was the best pitch game he's ever seen in over 1,000 games managed.
Pretty impressive.
It's crazy.
And I know a lot of people are getting on Isaiah Kiner-Falefa for a base running gap and extras where there were 2 rundowns on one play. He is right. His job is supposed to try and get to second on that play, correct?
Yeah.
And I know you have to read the play, but he is, unfortunately, because he was the least happy guy when Joey Gallo got traded, because he has become Yankee Twitter's whipping boy.
I know, it's crazy. Everything is about IKEV. Oswaldo Peraza, this, Oswaldo Peraza, that. It's like, man,
yeah,
the devil, I'm telling you.
It was a blast to watch, though. A lot of fun. Both starting pitchers were great. The bullpens were great. I was curious at Seattle. They had 4 extra innings where the Yankees did not score, and they start with a runner on second, and only one of them did they decide to bunt. I know that the bunt has basically been outlawed, but I really think that that's the perfect time to do it.
Yeah, I do too. I'm not on the outlaw the bunt train at all. I love bunts, different situations, especially when you're the home team and the guys in front of you don't score.
That's it.
But the thing is, here's why though, Chris. Nobody knows how to bunt. It's fair. It's difficult to bunt if you don't practice bunting and you never do it. Like, then it's hard. And you got these guys that we just talked about the velo. When you got guys with velo, then it becomes even more difficult. So I guess I do understand why teams are going away from it, because they don't practice it, and the high velo just makes it really tough. But if you have guys that can do it, obviously it's the perfect time.
Yeah. You think any Yankees watched that last night and were pissed off that they didn't get Castillo?
Maybe. How about Adam Frazier try to stretch one to double off Hicks? And he's like, oh, shit, wrong guy. He got thrown out for like 30 feet.
At what point was he thinking, man, this was such a terrible decision?
The ball comes out of Hicks' hand. It comes out a little different. You know, that thing got to second base really quickly. And he was like, oh, shit.
Hey, I want to remind everybody that today's episode of Baseball Today is presented to you by True Classic, an amazing, amazing shirt that is out there. In fact, it's already helped over 2 million men finally get a better fit at an affordable price. And our listeners get access to the best deal they offer. For a limited time only, I want you to listen to this. You'll get 25% off with the code TODAY at trueclassic.com. Now, I've talked about this a lot. Plouffe is a guy who, as he's aged, has actually gotten thinner. He used to be thick boy when he played. He is thinned out. He's gotten into the male model category. So almost anything looks good on him. We usually hate guys like that. Then there's guys like me, and you might look a little bit more like Rose. Dad bodish, not terrible, but a little bit chunky. That's okay. This shirt, I am telling you, it fits great. I told you when I put it on the first time ever on Monday, Michelle Rose was like, where'd you get that? That looks great. That's all I need. That's the approval. So they've got this, they've got polos, they've got workout gear. It comes in a staple of different colors. Also, if you need a bigger size, it goes all the way up to triple XL. It's good to deal with there. So stop the beer belly shaming and just wear clothes that fit better. TrueClassic.com. Get 25% off with the code today. Free shipping included on purchases over $100. 100% risk-free guarantee with a 30-day return policy. Stay classy with True Classic. Your dad bought.
Yeah, you look great, bro. Is it just the shirt?
It is the shirt right now.
Oh my gosh, because you look nice.
You're cool. We continue on. White Sox lost Tim Anderson for several weeks, if not for the rest of the season. He's having finger surgery. Twins lost last night, as Trevor Plouffe can tell you. So if you look at the standings, we got all 3 teams right there within less than 2 games. Are my Guardians, who are tied for first place with the Twins, in the best shape to win the Central?
I guess so, dude. Who's in the good shape to win the Central? I'm getting so frustrated with this dang division. You know, the Orioles would be in first place in the division by far if they were playing in the AL Central. So that makes me a little upset. I'll say yes, and I'll tell you why I think the Guardians are in the best position right now. The starting pitching is back. They got Bieber looking great. McKenzie doing his damn thing. We got Quantrill looking great. And then you have Savali making his comeback. I know he hasn't put up great numbers this year, but you got 5 starters that are legit. You got a back end of the bullpen that's legit, and you got a bunch of young guys doing it. I think that the way they play baseball is well suited for the last month of the season. So I'll say, yes, the Guardians have the best chance at winning the AL Central. The Twins really got to get it going. I was talking to Perkins again before the game. He's like, it's kind of crazy. The trade deadline, they did everything they could. There's really not a position player that they could have brought in. Like, there's nobody that you're going to move off of their position. Maybe a catcher. We talked about Wilson Contreras maybe going there. But still, like, they just seem a little overmatched. I know they're playing the Dodgers last night, but there's just something about the Twins that doesn't get me excited. I don't know if the Guardians do. I like the starting pitching, and I like Clase at the back end, but we'll see, man. I think it's going to be a battle between. I think the White Sox are done. I think it's going to be a battle between. Really? I think so, man. I've just given up hope. I don't know, man. But I think the Twins and the Guardians probably going to be battling it out. I hope the Twins deadline acquisitions make the difference, but I'm not sure, man. It's so hard to read right now.
Guardians didn't do a damn thing. I mean, there were White Sox fans that were screaming at the top of their lungs. All we got was Jake Diekman. The Guardians didn't do a thing. I was there at the stadium the day of the trade deadline, and there were guys, even Shane Bieber came up to me, and, we talked for a minute, and then he was going back in the clubhouse. He said, yeah, I got to go refresh Twitter. I think he was checking not only for the team, but for his name, because I told you about that there was a possibility. I felt like it wouldn't have shocked the world if he had been traded. But they ended up going to battle with the guys they've got. They DFA'd Franmil Reyes, one of their power sources. They do play an entirely different brand of baseball than any of the 29 other teams. They barely have anybody that is a home run threat at the dish. And they have really good bat-to-ball skills. They have a gazillion guys who have made their major league debut. And yes, the starting pitching is starting to come back, and Clase is filthy. I won't pick them to be the favorite in that division just because even though I'm wearing my Cleveland hat, I won't do that. But I think that Tim Anderson injury is the one that is going to end the White Sox run.
Everyone that I talked to that's, has been covering the game and has been around the White Sox has said the exact same thing to me. They just don't seem like they're playing hard. They seem like they don't care sometimes. And I know that's not the case because everyone cares. They want to do well, but there seems to be a lack of leadership. And I don't understand how that's the case, Chris. I mean, you have a veteran-laden team. I don't even want to talk about Tony La Russa. I don't care about that. I'm talking the guys in the clubhouse. There's a lot of veterans there, but everybody says the same thing. They just look like they don't care. There's no fire there.
If they do like a 30 for 30, like 20 years from now, that we're ever going to get the real story, because there's got to be something happening there. There's way too much talent in every facet of the game. Where you look at the other teams in this, they won the freaking division by like 11 games last year.
I don't know, dude. I mean, I don't know what to say. We know some of the guys in the clubhouse. I mean, and these guys are stand-up individuals, like I said. So to me, like leadership would be the last thing that I would say would ruin their season if we're talking preseason. But now it just seems like there's no accountability. I think that's maybe the better word. I don't know, man. It is weird. I don't like it.
All right, let's talk about something we do like. Austin Riley. Braves take game 1 of their series up at Fenway. Another huge night for him. 30th homer of the year. Drove in 5. Where is he right now? I don't love talking about the MVPs because we still have 2 months to go. But I am curious, since we really haven't brought his name up this year, with the exception of his $200+ million extension, where does he rank right now in the MVP voting if you did your ballot today, which you don't have?
I think he's top 3. And I think he's close. I think it goes Paul Goldschmidt right now. I think he's still my MVP. And then Freddie has kind of like fucking caught fire and he's doing what he's doing. And then it's Austin Riley. I think they're kind of 2A, 2B type guys. Yeah, I mean, he has put himself, he's become one of the premier players in the NL and just happened right in front of our face. I love it. I love the Austin Riley, trajectory that we got going here. Like I said, I think Goldie's kind of running away with it, but I mean, 30 homers already. He's already put up 4.9 Baseball Reference WAR. got the money. Like, what doesn't this guy have right now? He's becoming one of my favorite players to watch.
Yeah, he's a beast and a good
Young,
kid.
thick. He's got a good nickname.
Yeah,
He can play D for a big guy. He hits the shit out of the ball. I mean,
he told me on the Rose rotation, he was a guest with Trevor May actually a bit over a year ago, and he said most teams looked at him as a pitcher coming out when he was drafted.
He's a big boy. He's got that.
He said very few teams wanted him as a hitter, and the Braves were one of them.
And their patience has paid off because, we were talking going into the 2020 season, like, hey, man, like we got to see something out of you. You came up and you had some extended run in 2019 and then, kind of had like a ho-hum 2020 as well. And the next year it comes out 898 OPS in 2021. Now he's sitting with a 954, Chris. That's big boy territory up there. And this is exactly, look, he's 25 years old. He's entering his prime. Like, we're going to see this for quite some time with him. He's what a third baseman needs to look like, I think. Big old boy over there. That.
No question.
Paul Goldschmidt's still my guy, though. Go look at his numbers.
Yeah, Goldschmidt's my guy, too. I think Freddie Freeman probably gets penalized a little bit because the team is so dominant. And you look at it and you're like, well, I do. I really do. Particularly when Mookie Betts at times has carried that team. I don't think you could make an argument you could make an argument for Trey Turner at times, too. I think that's the problem is that they're so good.
I love Trey Turner.
So
Freddie, Goldschmidt's numbers are just too dominant right now. He's got a 413 OBP, a $1 OPS, 191 OPS plus. I don't think anyone's taken away from him unless he kind of falls off and Young Thick or Freddie just kind of goes off. I don't see that happening, though.
Yeah. All right. Last night, a couple of crazy visuals. One happened in Philadelphia where J.J. Bleday had a ton of family and friends. And Bleday ends up hitting a homer. And you saw his entire crew start to flip off Philly fans. Was that a stranger sight to see than Rodolfo Castro of the Pirates sliding into third and his cell phone falling out of his back pocket?
I don't have any words for the cell phone thing. The whole way it played out too, where the third base umpire's like, hey, bro, your cell phone's on the floor, dude. And, I think it was an innocent mistake. It looks so bad. This is a young guy that just got called back up. Like, he said that he just forgot it was in his pocket, but I don't really. No. It was in the fourth inning that it came out. You do have some other stuff. He has like a sliding pad in his back pocket that he puts on his hand. So maybe he just thought it was that. But if you sit down on your iPhone in your back pocket, you're surely going to feel it.
Well, no. There's been times where I have put my phone in my pocket and I haven't felt it. Maybe that's because I've got so much luggage back there. But aren't you supposed to put the phone away at some point before the game? Like, I'm good.
Well, what his explanation was, he was getting ready for the game. If you're stretching in the gym or something, you usually have your uniform on. He just had it in his back pocket, never took it out. That was his explanation. It just is a bad look for the Pirates, for Shelton, for him. I know they talked about it internally. I don't think it's going to end up being a big deal, but the visual of it is just, if you're a Pittsburgh Pirates fan, you're like, this could only happen to us.
The J.J. Bleday stuff was hilarious. Now, it was interesting because the Marlins TV broadcast went over to that section. His fiance or girlfriend, I don't want to get him married off if they're not going that direction. I apologize. I think it's
man, that's some pressure right there.
Well, I'm just saying, whatever. One of the two. He can deal with that on his own time. They talked to her, and one of the guys who was in the contingent paid $200 to a fan for the Bleday home run. So he got the ball back. Now, it's possible that the people who were flipping off the Phillies fans, that they were all there in a big group, and some of them are still Phillies fans, right? Once a Philly fan, always a Philly fan, even if you know a major leaguer, right?
Sure, I guess.
Well, no,
if you're going to a game for J.J. Bleday, they're rooting for your team.
Yes, but you could still... Yes. So, at the end of the day, it could be a happy fuck you, right?
I think like the birds in Philly is a sign of like love. I mean, that's the way they treat people out there, just boom, boom. What's up? What's up? It's like saying hi and bye at the same time.
Hello.
Phillies fans get mad at me because I'm always like, hey, it's a rough crowd out there, bro. Like, it's tough to play in Philly. Like, who's not that tough, bro? We're just passionate. I'm like, no, it's tough to play in Philly, dude. Like, you guys are passionate, sure, but you're also can be a little bit mean sometimes. So, like, the birds there. No, I wasn't there long enough, man. To be honest with you,
You didn't.
They would have if I played long enough. My gosh, I would have been booed in Philadelphia a lot, no doubt about it. And I'm okay with getting booed, dude. And I don't understand why it's like I can't say that you guys are a rough crowd when all these teams that are rough crowds like pride themselves on it. The New Yorkers pride themselves on the fact that it's tough to play in New York, man. We hold you accountable. And it's like, all right, you have to take the good with the bad with that too. If somebody calls you out for saying you're tough to play in front of, like. It's just stating the truth, dude. People got so mad at me. I said, Seiya Suzuki, I don't think should go to Philadelphia. I think it's just too rough of a crowd for him. You're coming over. You want to feel comfortable. And people were so mad at me for that, Chris. But
they proved your point.
It's the truth.
By the way, if Castro had broken his phone on that slide and he had insurance on it and he takes it in and they're like, well, how did it break? Sliding into third. Is that an acceptable insurance claim?
I think so. I think Apple should do some marketing campaign with this. Like, you always got your phone on you, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't even break when you play a Major League Baseball game, even though it's the most fragile piece of hardware ever.
I wonder if he accidentally FaceTimed somebody when that happened. Would that be great if like you pick it up, a FaceTime call, and dude's standing on third?
A legitimate butt dial.
Yeah.
I love it.
Good. All right. What do you have coming up on John Boy Media?
We released today, I think it's already out this morning, our all JM team for July.
Ooh.
This is an award that we give. It's all encompassing, Chris. So we give awards out every single month. Okay. So your stats in April, then you get the all JM team. And then we combine your stats April and May. So it's a rolling thing. So yeah, so you have to be good the whole season to get it. And you might get caught by people. We think it's the right way to do it. We're giving out pedals and you're trying to get a silver daisy. Talking baseball fans know what I'm talking about, but it's a good episode. It's a good way to catch up on like who's doing well throughout the league. We give a lot of shine to some guys who you might not think should get the shine.
Okay.
So go check it out.
Cool. I like that.
You?
I was busy yesterday. Taped 2 podcasts. Trevor May will come out on Thursday. Talked about the huge playoff atmosphere at Citi Field against the Braves. We talked about Spencer Strider's comments and how that played in the Mets clubhouse. It was a really interesting discussion. Very interesting. A lot of good stuff. And then I taped for Monday Ryan Howard, speaking of Philly fans. So the former league MVP and World Series champ, we'll see what he's been up to. Played him a little bit of the Papelbon interview. Which was interesting response. So
I bet, man. Those are okay. I dig that. Ryan Howard, people need to remember. Go check out his baseball reference page. Dude, it's a fun one.
Before the Achilles tear, he was on a roll. I think he was probably destined to be a 500 home run guy before that thing happened. That was a shame. I am going to, for those of you that are only joining us, podcast form and on the YouTube channel, I'm off the next 2 days. Jerry Blevins will be joining you tomorrow. Pete Moylan on Friday. So it's a little players only. So that should be fun and interesting. So I want to thank our outstanding producer, the one and only Dan Rourke. That is Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose. They will see you Thursday for the latest edition of Baseball Today, presented to you by True Classic.